Hello everyone. So, I hope everyone is having a great October. Yay, October is finally here. I know I'm not the only one who's super stoked about that. So, just 15 or so days until Halloween. Super exciting. Uh, my favorite holiday, my favorite season, even though I'm in Southern California and we don't really get fall. I'm enjoying the fall that we are getting. So today is obviously a very different format. The lighting is not so great. It's sort of an impromptu video that I decided to record. This will be more... I mentioned previously that I wanted to do sort of video diary formats, sort of from a little bit, for myself to vlog my way through graduate school, but also for others. I mean, I hope other people find it interesting and helpful. That's the goal here. That's sort of my goal of uploading it. Otherwise, I would just sort of record them and not upload them. So I just kind of want to reflect on the first month of my MSW program. And for those of you who don't know or haven't seen my previous videos, MSW is Master of Social Work. So I am in a generalist program, meaning that we learn techniques and skills from all areas of social work: mental health, child welfare, substance abuse, adults and aging, etc., medical. We essentially learn the skills of all areas, and we're sort of a jack of all trades. So it's a really unique program style, I guess it would be considered, and yeah, it prepares us for all different situations. So my in my program we get to pick a specialization in the second year. It's a 2-year program. So my mental health will be my specialization. I may do a more in-depth video on my interest in mental health and sort of do an overview on the mental disorders in the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Yes, I am a nerd and I love manuals and books. So I'll probably go into detail more about that in a future video. So anyway, it's been my first month, and this is the first time I'm really motivated to make a video because it's been so stressful. A surreal experience. Grad school is a lot different than, getting your bachelor's degree or your associate's degree. Not to minimize the work and effort that it goes into getting undergraduate degrees. It's just that graduate school is much different. The demand is much higher. You're sort of always on your toes. The reading has been intense. Chapters, you have about 7 to 8 textbooks for 1 quarter. For us, we go on the quarter system, so some may be on semester. But yeah, so for 1 quarter we have 7 textbooks, and it's quite intense. You are expected to read all of them. It's not sort of like in undergrad. I feel like you have 4 or 5 textbooks, but really you only use 2 of them. In graduate school, you're using all of them. So in my case, we're using 7. I have a macro, micro, and human behavior in the social environment. So in social work, we have 2 different technically we have 3 areas of work with people. So micro level is working on an individual basis, so one-on-one, and with families. So that's your traditional clinical therapy session, I guess, essentially. You're one-on-one with an individual or with their family. So you're doing that type of work. Macro is more a bigger picture. So you're doing much more with policy and legislation. So it's much more political. It's much on a larger scale. So you're working with organizations. You're working in big communities. So it's very much it's geared toward like community organizing. So you're making large social change, definitely larger scale. And then we also have meso, which in my program we don't talk much about, but meso is working with small groups, essentially. Because I'm interested in, working with people with mental health issues. I have leaned more toward micro, which is one-on-one clinical sessions, but I also see the importance of macro because it's a lot of advocating for policies, and it's, even though people can't understand a lot of the time how policy is ingrained in our field of social work, you must realize that the policies that impact groups of people, for example, and I learn through examples, so I'll give them to you guys. For example, in California, in the United States as a whole, but in my region, California, immigration reform is huge for, liberal folks. So immigration impacts the people that we work with here in California and in other, states as well. But particularly like the border states, immigration is impacting the people that we care about and the people that we are here for to serve. So it's one of our values is social justice. I'll also do a video on that. Trying not to be too disorganized here, but there's just so much information that I'm learning, and I really want that to come out in this video as a reflection of my learning. So yeah, say there's a bill on immigration and housing or something like that. We're going to want to be involved in that and push for, in support of the people that are constituents, the people that we're working for, in order to better their quality of life, because that is essentially why we're here. So policy is huge in social work as a social worker, as a practitioner, whatever it is, whatever your role is that you play in social work, policy is a huge aspect of that. And for those of you who really just don't understand social work, it tends to have a very negative connotation, for sure. People's main understanding of social work as a field is that it exists to take people's children away from them when they're bad. That's not the entirety of our field. That is a huge part of it, and that is a very essential part of it, because we are there to advocate for children, and we are there to ensure that they're safe, and we don't want them in poor environments, but the actual instances of children being removed from the home is actually quite slim. It doesn't happen often, and if it does, the ultimate goal is like getting them back with their family. So really, that's not the whole entirety of our field. We actually do a lot more and have very in-depth history that I think is overlooked, and it's quite sad. I think people sort of diminish the value of it, but that's also because people don't really understand. So I'm hoping through my little video here that maybe I can change some perspectives on social work. The way that you look at things changes when you're in graduate school. You are forced to be critical thinkers, which is essential, I believe, for life. I think we should all be critical thinkers in life, and it really teaches you the skills that you need to do that. Like I mentioned, reading is a huge one that I've been adjusting to. I love to read. I've always read my textbooks. I've always been on top of it. But I don't know that I took it as seriously before, and I'll admit that. So now, you come home from class, or you come home from your internship, which is the off days of class. So for me, I go to my internship on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I go to class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every day that I come home is just straight to the books. Get your highlighter, get your pen, and go straight to the books, because that's just kind of the nature of graduate school, and it's 2 years of a sacrifice that you're giving up, but it's going to be worth it forever. So I mentioned my internship. I am a school social worker at an elementary school district. So I'm at one of the schools within the district, and I am their only social worker. I do counseling with elementary school students, and I'm loving it so far. I'm learning so much. It's a very independent field placement. Field placement is what we call it in social work. But yeah, I'm loving it. So, I'm only, 3-4 weeks in, so I'm sure I'll have more to report later. But yeah, I'm working with a lot of students with mental illness and mental disabilities. So, special ed classrooms, regular education classrooms, but children that do have mental disorders. So I'm able to sort of dabble in what my interests are already and also add to it and work with children, which, working with children is another version of working with adults. I mean, they grow up to be adults, so you're really getting the full understanding. So my plan is to work with children this year, and then for my second year, in our second year, we do another internship in a different part of the field. So I'll be working probably with adults, with children as well, because you'll always get both. But next year I'll be working in a mental health facility. So I'm hoping to be either placed at a state mental hospital or at a mental health clinic. So within like the county or something like that. So yeah, that's just a little idea for what our internships are like. Not all graduate programs have internships. A lot of social science ones do. So social work, I'm not sure about sociology, but psychology I know does. So clinical psychology will have an internship in most programs. So it really gets your feet wet in the field, and it shows you how to implement things you're learning in the class to real life. And to me, that's been so helpful. I didn't realize how helpful it was going to be. It is stressful. You are balancing basically work in school, because technically it's work even though you're not getting paid, which is okay. I mean, I didn't expect to get paid. But yeah, it's a lot to balance, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, the experience that I'm having so far. So, okay, so I went a lot into specifics about social work. I'm actually just going to add on some more general tips about school for people who, like I said, are either in school or are going to start school, people coming out of high school, people still in high school and are thinking about college, or people who are in getting a bachelor's degree and want to get a graduate. This is for anybody, really, because these tips will carry over into anything. So, first of all, read. I've mentioned this already 3 times, so it's important. Read your textbooks. Read your textbooks, seriously. You will not always have teachers who go over everything. Many teachers will expect you to know the material they're teaching, also the textbook material. So make sure you just read it. You don't have to read every single word. You don't have to memorize every word. But, skim through it a few times each chapter. Read the conclusions. Read the summaries. Make notes. At least take away one key idea from each chapter, because it's important. Participate in classroom stuff. If we're discussing a textbook, if you're discussing a chapter in a textbook, raise your hand. Input as much as you can, because the more I've found, and I believe research supports this as well. I believe research supports this as well. Why is that so hard to say? I believe research supports this idea that the more you participate in class, the more that you learn. It stimulates your learning. It makes you feel good. The more that you participate, the better you feel about your learning, and you'll feel more connected to your peers. In my case, they're called my cohort. It's a group of people that I go through the entire master's program with. So the more you participate and contribute, the better your learning will turn out, really. Public speaking. I'm going to talk about this because I freaking hate public speaking. I seriously hate public speaking, but it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen. A lot of you will have to take public speaking in community college. It's an entire class on public speaking, and it's tough. I don't know that everybody will, so don't take my word on it 100%, but for me, I had to take it, and throughout undergrad, I had presentations I had to give, and now in my graduate program, we indeed do presentations, and it's just sort of a way of life. Everybody gets nervous. I know that my professors who have PhDs and are extremely experienced and knowledgeable get nervous like every day, they say. So unfortunately, the nerves, I think, stick with you for a while. For those of us who are very, very scared, it is actually a diagnosed like mental illness, uh, presentation anxiety, um, being perceived poorly, being being embarrassed, messing up. Those types of things are actually very scary to the point where you have physiological reactions to it. And I know a lot of you will understand this. Your palms sweat, your heart have heart palpitations, and you get anxiety. And I mean, it's like not a joke, right? It's like not a joke at all. I totally understand, and I'm with you on it. But something I'm having to get over right now is presentations. I have one in a month, and then I have one a month after that. So it's very, very scary. It's very scary. But as a professional, that's how you grow. I'm being honest about it. Some people aren't scared. Some people are not intimidated by presenting, but I am. So just be prepared for that. You will survive. No matter how long it is, if it's 20 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, you'll be a stronger person. So just don't throw up. Yeah, you'll be okay. Even if you throw up, it's okay. It's fine. At least you survived. Okay, so presentations, reading, being professional. You will not like everybody you come in contact with. You will not like every peer at school. You will not like every professor. You will not like every boss that you have or supervisor that you have. Just be professional, be tolerant. There's a saying like everyone's fighting a harder battle. Everyone's fighting their own battles. Like, you really just try to keep that in mind, and it will help you deal with people who are difficult. You will deal with people who are difficult. It is a part of life. It is a part of being a professional, growing up. It's rough. It's rough. I mean, I definitely, I'm not experiencing everybody. I haven't, my experience has not been that everyone is pleasant and everyone is super amazing, but that's just sort of the nature of life, and we take it with a grain of salt and we move on. So be professional, be on time, don't be late to class, as much as possible. Like, things happen, things come up. Even in a graduate program, like, I have friends who are late sometimes. I mean, stuff happens regularly, so don't be too hard on yourself, but also just make it a point to be on time. It's embarrassing to walk into class late. Definitely is. And my biggest one, and I think I'll just leave it at that, leave it at this, but be passionate. Don't forget why you started this. When we get stressed out, when a lot of things come up, when a lot of demands are placed on us, our competence is questioned. We question our own competence and sort of motivation, like, why did I even do this? Was this even worth it? And for me personally, my motivations have been family, have been struggling with my own, mental illness, mental health issues. I think I've mentioned I have an aunt with Down syndrome, and her struggles and the struggle of raising her to be a functional adult has been very difficult for my family. And these are the things that are ingrained in me that drive me. They may not drive me every day. They may not give me full-blown passion all day, every day. Sometimes it requires a little bit of coffee or tea to get that flowing again, but you do need to just remember there will be some of you who are going to college for the first time. But you're the first person in your family who's ever gone to college, who's ever graduated college. Good for you, first of all. That's amazing. I commend you. I am, also someone who is one of the only people in my family who's going to graduate school and college, so I understand it can be hard, but good for you. I mean, keep that in mind. Keep these little things in mind that will get you through. Whether it's your bachelor's degree, some degrees only require that you have a bachelor's, they're terminal degrees. Whatever it is, community college, even if you're just graduating high school and you don't want to go to college, it's not for everybody. I mean, I would encourage it because my bias is, I love college and I would suggest it to everybody. But I know that it's not for everybody. whatever your goal is, just remember why you did it. I'd say my life motto is that we only live once. YOLO, I guess you would call it. That's what the kids say. But really, you live one time. Some of us believe that you live several times, or reincarnated and stuff. But I believe that we only live once, and that we need to take advantage of it. So whatever it is that you choose, it doesn't have to be social work. It doesn't have to be, working with mental illness. It does not have to be anything that I mentioned. You can create your own new thing that you want to be passionate about. But, whatever you do, do it with passion. Do it with intent. School is one of those areas that you really need that passion. You really need to keep holding on to that. Otherwise, it will make it very difficult for you, unfortunately, along with other things that will make it difficult, like a lot of things I mentioned. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about school. It's more become like a coaching thing than a diary of my own experience, but I think my experience has come out in this video as well, so I'm happy about that. I'm in a good place. I'm very busy. I'm sorry if I come out with like random videos. I don't know what will happen because I can't predict the future. I'm not a psychic, even though sometimes I pretend like I am. Sometimes I feel like I'm like an emotional psychic, like I can feel people's emotions or something. It's fucking weird. And I'm just getting creepy here, but anyway, I'm not a psychic. I can't predict like what kind of videos I'm going to put out or how often. I am being pretty punctual about how often I put out videos. I want to keep that up. I said that in my intro. I really want to be consistent. Mostly to show myself I can be consistent with something I've never really done. But also because I know that there are a few of you out there who are watching. I think I have 16 followers right now or something, which is great, and thank you all. And I hope that you guys are enjoying my videos. But yeah, for those of you who are interested in my videos, I want to keep them up and keep producing content for you. So let me know if you like this. Please, if you are somebody who is interested in mental health, mental illness, social work, graduate school, make yourself known. Send me a comment or a message or whatever, and if you need any more tips, or if you want to just talk, network with me, that would be great. I love networking opportunities with other professionals in the field. So yeah, I will definitely make more social work videos because it is my passion. Whether or not people love it. But yeah, okay, that's it for today. I hope everyone enjoys their week and is treasuring the people in their lives. We don't have them forever and things happen, so whoever it is, your partner, your family, mother, father, siblings, hug them, give them a big kiss on the cheek, and treasure everything in your life because YOLO. Bye guys.